right, welcome in another episode of Off the Carousel, and now it takes us to beautiful Green Bay, Wisconsin, and one Douglas Gottlieb. And I can't believe I'm doing this. It's still surreal to me that you and I, who have done how many shows together, are now doing a show in which you are the head coach of a Division I men's basketball program. I don't know. It's going to take a little while to get used to, Doug.
Totally. So can I still do like field next year?
You do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do it.
I mean, listen, your Twitter game hasn't changed, so why should anything else?
No, I mean, that was the deal it's,
it's
let Doug cook, I guess.
It's unbelievable. Let me start with the why, because I think that's the one I think a lot of people still would want to know. Okay, you've got this Fox radio show. You've been doing media for 20 years. Why the hell would you want to get into college basketball coaching now when it's kind of a shit show?
Well, again, I've always wanted to do it. And so it's a great opportunity. I don't think it's as big a shit show at this level as it is maybe at the high major level. We're able to you want how much? That's just not us.
We don't have it. Right. We don't have
it. And even if we did, it's not really how we want to do it. It just creates an imbalance in your roster. Some kids making money, some kids not making money, whatever. So I don't know. I've always wanted to do it. I love basketball. I love being a part of a team. I love leading a team. I have so many friends in coaching, and I can tell you, it's sweet. It's really cool. No, I mean,
so far. Wait, you're undefeated. Of course you love it. You haven't lost the game yet. It's great.
I haven't lost the game.
It's beautiful in Green Bay right now.
Oh my God. Well, right now, Green Bay is awesome. But more than anything, just the ability to make decisions, And I've been really fortunate, especially the last 7 years being at Fox, in my radio bosses. We don't really meet, once a year, maybe we get together and have lunch and talk about things. Occasionally, my direct boss, Scott Shapiro, will be like, hey, listen to this, didn't like this. Can you try this a little bit more? But not as intense a shadow overlooking you. So when I've had opportunities to be people's assistant coaches, I was just a lot of people advise me dude, I don't know, you haven't really had a boss in a while. And, you have, it's layers, right? Because you have the board and in this case, the state and the president and the AD. And then if you add in a coach and maybe an associate head coach above you, so the ability to skip those steps, which is nothing short of a miracle, has been amazing. And yeah, I enjoy it. I'm way more organized than I've ever been. I also have the help of
that's not hard. Well, listen, that is not difficult at times. I still say to people, I don't know how you've done it, but people don't know how you've operated it. I know because we did a show together. There was one show where you actually did the show while driving to your Fox. Yeah, it wasn't, it was a little scary. It was a little scary.
A little bit scary to other people, but yeah, I'm a multitasker. No, honestly, being in one and I knew this coming in, and I've just had to prove it to people that part of the stability of coaching and the ability to set out a staff and have a Dennis Harrington, who's my dobo, but also just got my right hand doing things. It's just given me a setup to where we get here, we meet every day at the same time, we get through things, we're schedule oriented, and it actually has helped me for the radio because I have to be more efficient with my time. I can't just call people, go work out, do this, do that, and then radio shit, I got to be really efficient with it. So yeah, it's that part has been going well. And this is the hard time here to do sports radio because there's nothing really to talk about other than your Celtics winning a championship.
No doubt. Dennis Harrington, is that his name?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to send him some advice. I think I'm going to get his number.
His nickname's Denbo. And this dude, we were giving him so much shit yesterday. So I moved into this house. It's literally 4 minutes from here. And so Dennis he's moving into his, what really kind of delays you is, again, we got this at late, and then we put together the staff, and you get the players here, and you have workouts, you want to do recruiting, but you also have to get your life into order, So I bought a house that was somebody else's summer house / Furbo.
Okay.
So I said, just leave everything.
Right.
Leave everything. So I'm going to redo it in the winter. But for right now, like it's all done. And we had a little snafu with the Wi-Fi. So last night we all went out I took the whole staff, went to dinner, and we were hanging out. And then everybody's like, let's go back to the house. Because my house has this great, it's on Green Bay, it's on Lake Michigan. And so, everybody wants to go there, and we lit a fire in the fire pit and sat around. So I invited Dennis, and then when Dennis got there, we were pretending to make him fix the Wi-Fi. Anyway, he's awesome. Like
Poor dude
people
does
think
not
I'm a
make
one-arm
enough
paper
money.
hanger,
Hey,
like doing stuff for
whatever
me.
he makes, Doug, it isn't enough.
He goes, so what is the job outside of Dobo? And I said, everything.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? I was like, everything. You gotta do everything.
Like he has no idea.
No, he's
And then-
awesome.
And like
He's
he's been
awesome.
on for like probably a month now in the off season. Like wait till the season starts. And
I don't think as much,
that's the part I got pushback. You remember when I broke the news,
yeah.
and I tweeted out that you were still going to do the Fox radio show. Like it wasn't, the shock was there a little bit that you got the job, but the real shock was you got the job and you're continuing to do this Fox radio show every day. And to me, again, even I was a little surprised when you first, and a year ago, we kind of went through this when you were in the mix for the head job and you didn't get it. And I was like, how the hell are you going to do this job and do radio and put it all? Now, again, listen, part of the deal is you are a workaholic. Like you are unlike anybody else. I mean, here's the part that I know with you is you've done how many episodes of Field of 68? You've done probably, I don't know, 30, 40. You've never asked us for $1. Like literally never. You love this shit. You love this shit. You will do it. You will talk to anybody. You want to be around hoops. You want to talk hoops. Like you're built differently than a lot of other people. And I think that's going to obviously serve you well, but this isn't going to be easy, is it, Doug?
I don't think it's ever easy though. I don't think it's ever easy. I have a tremendous amount of respect for coaches who just coaching is hard. It's the radio is my outlet. It's always been my outlet. And I actually think it'll be easier once we get football kind of back on the table because it's so different than everything else. I don't have, I have 2 in college, and my son's not going to be living here, so that part would be hard for me, like emotionally when I'm stopping. But in terms of my day is full and I love it. It's not the reason that I want to do it, but the affirmation that I've gotten because I've gotten emotional fulfillment out of it. Like I feel I don't have any imposter syndrome at all. I'm like, dude, do I have any idea how good we're going to be? No, I really don't, because I have a lot of respect. Like the coaches in this league are really good. I've seen their teams play. And I have a lot of guys that are talented on paper, but haven't played college basketball. And I remember how much better I got every year I played. And so there's a lot of unknown there. But I don't have imposter syndrome in terms of leading a team, leading meetings, running a practice, installing offense, how I want to do things. And I've really, I've gotten to a place where I have a methodology for how I want to do and what I want to do. And it's playing out exactly as I'd like. And I'll share it with you real quick. So like one of the things I'm big on is like, and I read a book when I went to CBS. I really struggled with the culture change there. Their culture wasn't bad. It was just very different from what I was used to at ESPN. At ESPN, when I was there, when I first got there in 2003, analysts didn't, but everybody else like lived there, and it was really kind of community. It was like going to college, and then I lived off campus. And so if you didn't see somebody on campus, you'd see somebody at Stop and Shop, or you'd see somebody at something for your kids or something like that, right? You'd always see an ESPNer. And then when you go to CBS, you come in to go to work, and then you scatter because it's in New York City and nobody lives right there, And those guys, they'll play golf together, or they go through the NCAA tournament and then they all go to the Masters together. I go through the NCAA tournament and I'm like, dude, I just did championship week, the NCAA tournament. I've been gone for a month and a half. I had little kids at the time. Like, I'm not going to Augusta, but it was a mistake because I didn't understand the culture. That's how they bonded.
Yeah.
Anyway, my agent, I switched agents to Nick Kahn back then. And Nick, for people who don't know, Nick was pretty much the biggest sports media agent in the country. Now he's the CEO of WWE. And when I switched to him, he sent me a book, The First 90 Days. And I recommended it to a lot of different people. And it's really, really good. And one of the things it kind of implores you to do is, and it's hard when you're the head coach and you're bringing in new players and you want to put into place culture. But one of the things I kind of, my own takeaway is just like, let people kind of be themselves. And then you can figure out what you want to adjust and what you want to fix, especially. So when we practice, we play a lot. We play a lot.
Because you want to
I give them basic.
You want to see what people, before you start telling them what they can and can't do, you want to see.
Correct. I look, we give them basic parameters. You know, I put in kind of the skeleton of what I want to do offensively because I have a defined how I want to coach and I have players I think that fit it. And then I want to see who actually does what I tell them to do and how they do it and how they play off it, who plays together well. Like it's like providing me all this data. The same on my coaching staff, right? Like I know all of these guys individually, but I got to see, like I have one guy who came to me because he wants to coach more. I've given him opportunities to coach more, but I'm kind of like having to push him. You know, I have somebody else who's coaching who's really strong personality. Sometimes I got to be smart to wheel that thing back in, but I don't want to tell people how to be before I can see how they naturally are. So that's just kind of my philosophy. I'm a ready, shoot, aim guy. That's who I am. And I like to do that in lots of parts of life. And then I like to analyze it and then come back and make adjustments, as opposed to being what I feel like is overly restrictive and place people in boxes as to who they are and what they can do.
What's been the most, if there has been an overwhelming part, maybe not overwhelming, but what's been the most difficult part out of the gates here?
I'm going to tell you the hardest thing I've ever done.
Go ahead.
I had a player who was Polish, okay, and a very well-regarded college basketball analyst recommended him to me, and I love the kid. And his dad died like 3 months ago. I mean, the whole thing. Like I talked with the mom on a Zoom, but by the time I got to where I could offer him a scholarship. I need some time in terms of how many spots do I have left? How does it work? All that different stuff. And I was just kind of out of time. So I had to tell him, like, we just can't offer you a scholarship right now. And I love the kid. Like,
so brutal.
It's so hard. So hard. Like we're at the stage now where kids will do anything. And I want hungry kids. And a lot of the foreign kids are super hungry. A lot of American high school seniors are hungry.
Different, Doug. And that level is different where, like, if you can't take them, there's a chance he doesn't come over. Correct?
No, this kid already found another home. But I really like him.
Yeah.
I had two for the same spot, and I had a reason for both of them.
Yep.
And I haven't even, the other one I'm not even ready necessarily to offer yet, because again, I'm like down on scholarships, and you got to be smart with it. Like you only get 13. So, and you know how this thing works. It's like a kid will pop up kind of out of nowhere and you're like, dang, we wish you had a scholarship, you know?
Yes.
You
want to save one in case.
Yeah.
Always.
On the other hand, I also want as many guys here now as possible, because then I don't want to repeat myself and reteach things. So I have one for sure that won't be here till the fall. That sucks. But outside of that, everybody should be here in the next week and a half.
How many did you retain? Like, how many guys did you keep off last year's?
4. One was redshirting, and then one incoming freshman.
Okay.
And I will tell you this.
Yeah.
I mean it. Those kids are so impressive.
Really?
And yeah. First, like 3 of them that played last year are studs. Yeah. They're playing a bunch. They're about all the right things. Good. All the right things.
So you would say, again, a lot of guys will bullshit it and say, hey, I inherited a good situation, this, that, and the other from the previous guy. But you mean it. Sundance Wicks was there for 1 year. did a hell of a job in that 1 year, obviously, because he wouldn't have moved on from there. But you inherited a pretty good situation here.
Yes, yes. I mean, Preston Rudiger is a junior combo guard. Like, dude, if you could write down the attributes you want for when you take over a program to help like lead kids and do things the right way, like first guy in every line, leads, helps other kids, busts his ass in the weight room, texts me constantly, coach me harder, tell me what I need to do, Foster Wonders he's from Iron Mountain. He's from where Izzo's from. Like elite shooter, but elite kid too. Elite kid. And then we call him White Marcus Hall. And dude, he's a stud. He's a stud. Like I haven't watched a ton. Started to watch some Horizon League film, and there's a lot of talent in this conference. I think Marcus Hall is gonna have a really good year. He's a really good basketball player, and he's getting better. He didn't know how to eat and how to train, so we're trying to change his body. So he's really good. And then we had one that was redshirting that's good. He's a little injured right now. And then incoming freshman Bennett Basic is going to be good as well. So I mean this, like Sundance, they did a really good job with the culture, the kids they picked.
They flipped it.
And
they flipped it. I mean, so quick, like incredible job.
I think it's easier to go from 4 to 15 or 16 than it is to go from 15 or 16 to 20.
True. But
it's hard. They would have gotten 20 if Noah Reynolds didn't get hurt. They would have gotten 20, and that would have been amazing. I mean, Noah Reynolds is a really good player, but they also, like, those kids. One of the good things about these guys that's unique, okay, is I brought in some talented kids, and there's just no ego about them. None. Yeah, and maybe it's because they did the Noah thing.
The kid Miranda is super talented.
Yes.
Super talented. Now you got some work to do,
yes,
but he's got the physical abilities to play. We know at the high major level. I mean, there's a reason he was recruited at the high major.
He is. I mean, forget high major level. Like he does the good things he does
are ridiculous.
There's the only guys on earth who can do it play in that other league. Now there's a ton of other cleaning up stuff, and we got to get him into shape, because once he gets into shape, now he can roll all the time. He can block more shots, whatever. But I mean, I got, we have Jeremiah Johnson, and Jeremiah Johnson gets here, and, I think all of my staff, I know Jeremiah, I've known him for years.
Okay.
And I know his dad, Jay, for years. And so I know what type of kid he is. But he's been through a lot. He's been well-traveled. I mean, I think you know the story. He got shot after his sophomore year in high school, whatever. So he's been through a lot. But and he was great with his dad here. But I was just like, how is he going to fit in with the rest of the guys? He's probably the most highly touted recruit to ever come here, he and Miranda. And he's awesome.
Is he?
Like, oh my God, awesome. I mean, very good player.
Yeah.
And understands basketball. You only have to tell him something once, but just as a kid, that's the big thing. I just don't, I think that's the big thing that people are pushing back on, which is just the people and the kids and the handlers, most of the kids are awesome. It's not even I don't have any dads, and I don't have any of these issues, but I have run into some issues with go-between guys, agents, handlers, whatever. Those are the guys that screw stuff up, because most of these are just kids, and they just want to play basketball. That's really it.
Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. After a 6-month season loaded with cross-country travel, I can promise you that proper recovery is a priority for me these days. That's why I'm excited that Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of the Field of 68. Unified Healing is a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement System, or the EE system. If you haven't heard of the EE system yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in New Jersey or at one of the hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. If you're interested in experiencing the EE system technology for yourself, go to unifiedhealing.com/unified68 to learn more and find a center near you. That's UNIFYD healing.com/UNIFYD, the number 6, the number 8. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including the EE system.
So I had a conversation yesterday with my wife and daughter. My daughter's home, and we were talking about how I said to them, I think I've changed on Twitter. I don't go back at people nearly as much. I mean, I still do at times, but not nearly what I did. And I thought about it. I said, like, well, the reason, really, there's one easy reason here. It's because my daughter jumped on Twitter a few years ago. So I think in my head, I think differently about how I handle social media because she's on there and now she's kind of trying to get in the business. But even before that, just her being on Twitter. With you, you say you're not gonna change, but don't you have?
Well, that stuff I can't do. I mean, that stuff is stupid anyway.
Right? Isn't that
I think of hours of my months of my life that I've taken off responding to people on social media. It's just so dumb.
Yep.
Yeah, I offer nothing in retort for just stupid. And I'm less stupid than I used to be. I'm still stupid.
Of course.
But
we can't completely change who we are, but
no, when I say let me be me, I feel like this is the most me I've ever been, and there's a song. This is gonna be weird, okay? It's actually a very sweet love song. It's called I think it's called Broken Road by Rascal Flatts. And I don't even like Rascal Flatts because they have the lead singer of Rascal Flatts, kind of an a-hole. Like I was with Darius Rucker and Darius opened for him and they had the catwalk, but the catwalk was only open to Rascal Flatts, not to Darius. And I always thought that was shitty. Anyway, the song is like, God bless the broken road that brought me here to you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of Green Bay. That's what I feel about this thing is it's been a lot going on in my life. And, I feel so much healthier emotionally, so much more focused. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it's going to suck. My son living in a different state than me, like him getting ready to play high school basketball.
Doug. Your son is how old now?
15.
I mean, that conversation, I don't know if there were tears between the two of you when you told him, hey, because it was probably bittersweet. He's probably happy for you. Hey, you're going to be a head.
He's not happy for me at first. He was not happy at all.
He was not.
No. He's like, well, why can't you just coach at Oklahoma State? And I was like, because they didn't want me, buddy. It doesn't work that way.
I'd love to. Right.
Love to. They didn't want me.
Yeah.
So gotta do this. So, so he wasn't crying. I don't think he understood emotion. It happened really fast.
Yeah. Really.
And I didn't really have the opportunity to run it by people and go, what do you think? It was literally, the night before Mother's Day, like on a Saturday. And yeah, it was hard. But, it even started with, there was about a month ago, he was like, yeah, well, I was like, well, we're going to practice at your high school night before we play Oklahoma State. He's like, oh, that's cool. I go, you can sit on the bench, but you got to wear green. It's like, no, I'm gonna wear orange. It's like, those are my boys. And I was like, well, if you wear orange, you got to find tickets somewhere else. Right.
I love it. I love it. That's great.
So then he came up here and him and Isaiah Miranda, I mean, they're like Mutt and Jeff. Good. And like Isaiah Miranda's 7'1" with like poofed out hair that takes him to like 7'3". And Hayes, my son, is like super late grower, right? So he's like 5'1". And I mean, they talk the same language, they watch the same videos, they want to play Xbox together, whatever. They're like, but they like sit together at they're like their buddies. And then he and Jeremiah, anyway, so then I'm taking him to the airport and he's like, and I was like, what'd you think? He's like, oh, it's awesome. Because here in the summer is like a playground, You got to go wakeboarding. We went to a Playboy Cardi concert, which is like his first concert ever. We went out in Chicago. I'm using the gym, working out with Jordan McCabe, just like everybody's workout hero. So we're going to the airport and he's like, that was awesome. He's like, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna wear orange November 4th. I mean, I'm wear green November 4th. I was like, okay, thanks.
Good choice, kid.
Like it was even an option. Oh shit. So it was hard, but the point is, and that's
Because
the
you
hard
worked them
part.
out, you coached them. For people that don't know, like your girls are going into college this year.
Yeah.
But you're missing years of your son's life
Yes.
that you are going to be very, very involved in.
Well, there's a couple parts to it. I've coached him, and I mean, look, everybody gets the decision. Like, if you want to do this, you're gonna have to do some of this on your own. Can't hold your hand. So, again, how it worked out in my mind was I wasn't going to coach him anyway in high school. I don't think that would have been the healthiest thing ever. There's a world where I get to coach him for 4 or 5 years after high school. That would be super fun. So it can more than make up for it.
Doug, he's got to grow a little bit, right?
He got to grow a lot bit. And he's got to get better. But I mean, like, it doesn't mean he has to play. Like, he'd come here, like,
Yep.
that kid's awesome. He could be my head of media relations. He's such a good kid. And he's so smart and funny. Plus he's really good looking too. So, and he looks nothing like me for people who don't know. He looks like his mom. So, anyway, point is, yeah, I mean, I'll do the best I can, he'll come up here during breaks.
Yep.
Before summer's over, he's going to come and spend a week here and really work and train and get ready for high school. I'll get a chance to go down there for a lot of weekends in the fall before we get really started. We play down there. I'll try and always play down there. Then the spring, when we're done, we'll get him up here as well, getting ready for AAU and see how it goes. And it's the best you can do. But, I can't, it wasn't coming around again. This wasn't.
You had tried. Like, you had tried to get in at Oklahoma State as a head coach. Like you said, you really weren't all in with being an assistant. So,
well, I would have been, yes and no. I would have been assistant. I just hadn't gotten to the place where everything was perfect. And when you still have kids in school, like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right. So I probably would have gone the assistant route at some point here, maybe. But I didn't want to do it with kids still in school. But this is a one in a million opportunity. And so I just said, hey, because I'll be honest with you, Jeff, like, I remember I talked to several people about several jobs this year. And I just remember like hanging up the phone and like one of the last ones and just going like, my sister said, she hates when I call her out for this one, but I'm not. She's just like, look, have you ever thought, when you drive by like a fire station, like little kids want to be, firefighters, but then they grow up and they don't want to be firefighters anymore. Have you ever thought like this was like your childhood dream, whatever? And I was like, look, I respect that that's how you look at it. But for me, it's not a childhood dream. Like, when I'm around it, I feel very comfortable. I think I can be pretty good at it because I'm a huge portion of it is communication. It's interesting how you've learned and evolved because of your daughter. Like, I'm way better at this. I have a daughter that has some anxiety. I've really worked on my own ADHD. I got some of my kids have ADHD, and that really, really has helped me with coaching some of these kids because they all have ADHD, or some of them have ADHD, some of them have anxiety. And you have to, how I was as a parent, 15, 16 years ago, as opposed to how I am as a parent now, way better. And it's really helped me as a coach. So the good balance about me. And anyway, I remember sitting there and hanging up the phone with her, just thinking like, I want to coach. Do I want to take a high school job and coach my son? Do I want to do this AAU stuff? Like, it's just on some levels not fun because I was more invested than many of the parents were. The parents just want to see their kid play and they don't like A lot of them don't like the process and practice and things like that. And, I was looking at a lot of different things, like how to fulfill myself, especially with my daughters going to college. And then all of a sudden this happened. And I remember, I think it was Saturday. So Linder took the tech job on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Josh Moon called me on Friday and said, hey, they talked to him about a buyout, but he hadn't heard anything else. And I just remember Saturday night, I closed my eyes and I just said like a prayer. And I said, I need this, I need this.
It's a different part of your life too right now. You're at a different point of your life where you've done the media thing long enough. So it's almost like you're ready. How old are you now?
48.
Yeah, I mean you're ready. If you're gonna do it,
oh
you
yeah,
have to do it now.
But I'll also tell you, like, being the one that gets to do the national radio show stuff too is awesome.
Of course.
Awesome. So
It's just
I like would I take a job where I didn't have to do it? Well, we couldn't do it? Yeah, potentially.
it just didn't pay enough money.
Didn't pay enough money, but also like this, like these guys get it. Okay. Perfect example. So I did my show, I did Cowherd show today, and I did it with this margaritas hat on. Okay. So my guy Cowboy owns margaritas, right? So like, again, I'm not getting any money from him, but he's a supporter of our program and it promotes what they're doing. And somebody sees margaritas on there, and just mentions of Green Bay or mentions of knowing, I got a chance to know Mark Murphy, and it just kind of all works together. It's a gigantic promotional tool. And I think coaching college basketball is a gigantic promotional tool for the radio show. And the fact that both sides kind of let me be me, no one said, don't have any opinion on anything. Like, I'm not an idiot, well, maybe I am sometimes, but I know I'm staying further and further from that third rail, but I'm still an opinionated dude.
Yes.
Hey,
who are you gonna, like, if I said to you, you could be like one college coach, who would it be? Like, who would that college coach
Brad.
be? Brad.
A mixture of Bill Self and Brad Stevens.
Well, you are not like Brad Stevens. I
said, who could I be like? I wish I could be like Brad.
All right. So you would want to be like Brad Stevens.
But I'm me and Bill.
You're closer to Bill Self. Yes.
Yeah.
No doubt. I would say
I actually a lot of, without trying to pattern myself, just his way of doing things is the way of which is like, I get on to guys, but I get on to guys a lot with sarcasm.
Yep.
And he does too.
You'll screw around and get into him and be able to put your arm around him after, right?
Yes.
That's who you are.
And he's the best at it.
The best.
There's other guys that are great. Like, he's the best at it. Like, you have no doubt
he and Izzo are the best I've ever seen at it.
I love Iz.
Yeah.
And Iz was the first phone call I got I gotta tell you a story real quick.
Go ahead.
No. So Iz calls me after I get the job. Literally I get done and I get the job. And I was like, Iz,
probably want to play you like everybody else did.
I wish. I would love to play them. That'd be fun. Make some money. It's not that far a trip. Get your ass kicked, but hey. Anyway, so I said, I gotta run. I have Foster Wonders coming in with his parents to meet me. He's from your hometown. He said, oh, you got a Youper? Oh, wait. Listen, if the conversation gets dull, okay, ask the dad about hunting. I was like, well, do you know Mr. Wonders? He's like, no, he's a Youper. Oh, that we kill everything. I was like, okay. So we're sitting in this very office, and his mom and dad both played in college. They're awesome. Having a good conversation. Conversation kind of gets dull. And I said, like, you don't have to hunt, do you? And all of a sudden, like, their eyes are this big. The mom's like, do they hunt? They kill pheasant. They kill deer. They kill elk. They kill bears. I was like, bears? Bears. So, and Foster is known as the best fisherman on the team. Okay. So fast forward 2 days later, and Foster calls me, and my heart sinks, because Foster Wonders is the kid. So he transferred in from Southern Illinois, got 2 years left to play. Elite shooter, elite kid, crazy shooter. Yeah. Can really shoot. And for me, that's a toy. Like if you'll get to see how I coach offensively. Like I love to watch things and try and put in actions and use that guy, one guy with gravity, and just like fire at will, dude. Get him up. So Foster's like, hey, can I put you on speaker? My dad wants to talk to you too. I'm like, oh shit, he's going to the portal. Right? Like, oh no portal, no portal, no portal, no portal. I'm literally driving to go see another player, and he's like, no, I'm no portal, no portal. So he's like, coach, we want to tell you we like what you have to say. We think it's gonna be a great year. We want to come play for you. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So, but listen, I need a little NIL. I need to talk NIL. They're like, no, coach, we're good. We didn't ask for anything. I said, no, I need NIL. Like, what do you mean? It's like, we can't do this deal unless you take me bear hunting and Foster takes me fishing up in the UP. And they're laughing. I'm like, what are you laughing at? Hey, I'm like, I'm not allowed to negotiate I'm not allowed to negotiate your NIL, but I can negotiate my NIL. So this is what I need. They're like, done.
Listen, we need video of you going bear hunting. I'm
going bear hunting. It's happening.
Holy shit. This is a bad idea, Doug. This is a bad idea.
Why?
I don't know, man. I don't feel like this is going to end well.
That'll be over fun with a gun. So yeah, man. YOLO.
You're not the best decision maker. When you see this bear, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I just get tranquilizer darts instead of a gun.
All right, just make sure you can shoot it. Make sure you shoot it at the bear.
I've gone hunting before, man. I've hunted deer. I did fall asleep in a tree stand.
Somebody else.
This is true. Very true.
Whatever you do. All right, listen. Appreciate the time. If you need a Canada Goose jacket, I have one lying around that I'll give you for the winter because I'm not going to need.
Are you going to come out?
Yeah, hell yeah.
We play Providence November 16th. Are you still going to be in Boston? You going down south by then?
November, I'll be. Yeah, that we're doing the one of the Charleston events with FAU Charleston and Liberty. Those dates, 15th through 17th, I believe. But we'll get out there. I mean, I'll definitely listen. I wanted to get you in our Sioux Falls event on November 4th, but I understand. I understand you're making some money and going back home for that one to Stillwater.
You know, that one, this is an important thing. Okay. So, I don't know. Why do you think I'm playing that game?
I would think, to me, the emotions and just to give back and just to like what it will mean to like where you started and kind of going back there. In the emotions and everything and the attachment? No? What is it?
Look, I'm a couple of things. I do want these guys to experience real college basketball.
But they can do that somewhere else. They don't have to go to Stillwater for that.
No. I want my daughter's going to be a freshman there.
Yeah.
My son will be there.
Yeah.
We have Jeremiah Johnson's from Oklahoma City. He was committed to go to Oklahoma State. Yeah. And there's no like hard feelings there, like none of it. It's just more like now all his people get to see him play. I think that's important. But I mean, look, that was the first text I sent, and I know Steve's trying to get it going, and I'd rather play him now than like in 2 years. They're going to be really good. Yeah. You know, I think we'll be really good in 2 years, but I know they'll be really.
To me, listen, different level, totally different level. But I remember when I went to Arizona. And the one memory I have, the best memory I have of working at ESPN was doing sideline for an Arizona Gonzaga game and walking at McHale and being like, how the hell did I get back here doing this? Because I was the guy who was sitting at the pool and playing pickup instead of going to class in Tucson. So like, it just means something. I assume you're gonna walk through there as a head coach and think of your dad and think of showing up the first day at Oklahoma State as a player with everything that you had been through prior to that, and then how you finished at Oklahoma State, and you're going to have a huge smile on your face.
Oh, no question. I think it's a great point. So I don't know if you know this, my dad actually coached me there. We played an exhibition game there.
Really?
In 2002, I think it was. So I've experienced that a little bit. But yeah, to actually be able to coach, reconnect with people, teach these kids, there's also, it gives you a little bit of swag with your team. Sure. Where, people like, hey, he was a really good player or whatever, So all that, and I think we can be competitive.
Yeah.
But more than anything, yeah. So when you say emotions, I hope, I don't know, I just don't want people to think like there's any sort of negative, there's like no negative emotions,
No,
you
I think it's
know?
all positive.
Yes.
I think it's all
Yes.
like it's not negative. This is like again, I don't know. Life comes
I just
full
want to do things that are
circle.
cool. And I think that's a cool one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
Like
yeah,
that's the one thing I think people have wrong about you sometimes. The people that don't know you. And it's probably similar to me. Like people think I'm an asshole, and I can be, but generally you and I are assholes to people that deserve us being assholes.
I think you let people know how you feel when they treat you poorly. I just kind of process it, and look, I'm way too forgiving as well. Like I try and see the good in everything. I trust way too many people. And I'm like one of those guys that likes to collect like wounded animals and help them. That's just kind of who I am. So, and wounded relationships as well. But yeah, I'm like, so many things. When you've been in the media, as you and I have, and especially at the levels that we have, we've been called like every name in the book. So having somebody just like question you about a career choice, like it's like nothing.
Whatever.
You
Right,
know,
right. Like you're
I've been
like
so
that
said
bothers
way
you.
worse.
Right. Right.
And again, like not getting the OSU job, like yeah, it bumps me out. Like I would have liked to do it, but like that doesn't take away from like Steve. Like Steve's a good dude, really good coach, and it's my school. I want my school to do really, really
And he
well,
earned
except
it.
November 4th. That's the only day I don't want them to do well.
I mean, the dude went to the tournament 3 straight years as a head coach. Like he's done a
Not just
hell of a
that, not just that, but he's like we're different, but like from the guys I know who are there, he's just a hard driving dude. He's all gas, no brakes.
No, you asked me
And
that because you didn't know him that well, I think, right? And didn't you hit me a few
yeah,
times?
yeah.
And I
And
said, I'm
and
like,
and and all the guys that I like in coach, that I really like in coaching, like real dudes, they're like, hey, I like him. He's a
yes.
real dude. So I'm happy for him. And I wanted to use it to raise NIL for them, NIL for me. I'm bringing a bunch of people down.
Cool.
Matt Holiday's doing a big dinner at his house.
Nice.
So we're gonna watch the Packer game as a team and with a bunch of people that are gonna pay some money to have dinner with us. So that'll be really cool. And then we'll play the Pokes the next night. So it should be fun. And I don't know, it's one of these things where you get to, it's funny you pointed out thinking about my dad and thinking about Coach Sutton and thinking about memories. Like, yeah, I'm like nostalgic even before it happened. So I do think that I have a real sense of not just purpose, but of how special and unique this is. And I'm not going to take it for granted, you know? And it's probably why I'm a little bit annoying with my choices with players. Like my guys come to me, they have a player. I'm really, really thorough. We make a lot of phone calls. And then I want to sleep on it at night before I take or pass on a player, just because again, I really respect this and I want to get this right. And I had like super, super talented player who hit me up and wanted to come, had some baggage, talked to the handler guy, inevitably like hit me up for money, didn't feel right about it. And then, my coaches are just like, dude, he can play. And then I went, I slept on it. I woke up and I said, I've always said I wanted to do it, and there's a way I want to do it, and this is how I want to do it. So
Stick to your guns,
I do
man.
have the asshole in me like you do.
Yeah.
Mine comes when I used to have a producer he's an elite radio producer. He's now an executive with San Diego radio station. His name's Adam Klug. And we would get in these knockdown drag amounts over what topics were important, like stupid stuff, but like radio stuff. Like we really trying to put together good shows. And maybe once a year or twice a year, I would have to get like he would get like hardcore with me. And I just go, hey dude, what's the name of the show? And he STFU'd really, really quickly, right? It's like, oh, you got to go there, don't you? I do. So every once in a while, I got to play that card. And so I haven't had to do that, but it is cool to, at the end of the day, like, and I've gotten a better balance. Like, I hear you, I respect you, I validate your opinion. But we're going to do this because at the end of the day, if we lose, it's on me,
It's on you.
right?
Yeah.
And if the kid gets in trouble, it's on me. So But I love it, man. It's an amazing process and experience to be a part. The people you meet, if you just if you just kind of invest in people, you get so much more out of them as players. And so my guys have done a really good job of doing that with their players. It's pretty cool.
Well, listen, I'm super happy for you, man. You know that. Like, I'm really, I can't wait to see you on
No,
the
I mean this, Jeff. Like, look, we've both fallen in and out of favor with TV executives in the past, right? Mostly for stuff that's like really, like, people lose track of what really matters. And the last 2 years, you've really pushed for me to do Goodman versus Gottlieb or inside college basketball, whatever. And that's, I mean, you're good with me for life. Like,
likewise.
there's some guys I wish you'd take a little easier on because they know that you and I'll tell you off air.
What do you mean? You can tell me now.
They know we're friends, and they're like, you know, like, and I just tell them, I just tell them kind of like you do. I just like, look, you're in Jeff's relationship. That's you're in Jeff's relationship. My relationship with Jeff is he's fucking awesome. He's a mensch. He's got my back. He does what he's supposed to do, and he fights for me. You know, and those.
Listen, if I'm going at somebody, Doug, that generally means they've been an asshole to a lot of other people. That's
agreed. No, I listen. I understand. I'm telling you. The point of this end of this conversation is like,
I appreciate it.
If I didn't tell you, I really, really appreciate it because
it was a blast.
This is a hard because yeah, but our business is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
it doesn't make sense. There's been so many people
backstabbing. Yeah, there's a lot of backstabbing.
As Nick Hahn told me, he's like, hey, listen, everybody hates everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so just know everybody hates everybody.
Well,
so
I love you, man. You know that.
Love you too.
Love you. Can't wait to see you out there. And again,
here's what I want you to do though. I want you to come and I want you to like do. I don't know if you have the finances to do the deep dive you did like FAU, but just like see what we do, what I do, and how it all works, and you just tell me if you think it makes sense. That's really it. Because I think what I've done is I've made mental and physical notes of so many people that I've seen, how they handle themselves, how they put together practices, things that they do. And I've used that as kind of my guide.
There are a few that know the game, that can teach the game, that can break down the game that I've been around like you. I've said it over and over and over. Like, I mean, again, the question the amount that I learned from you is incredible.
I appreciate that. Now the challenge is, can I get the guys to the point when are we good enough to execute whatever we try and do? Okay. And then the second part is like, yeah, I agree with you. I can break it down. I can think it. I'm a couple plays ahead. I understand the mismatches. Now the other guy is too, right? And they've done it for longer, but it's in real time. Can you adjust? And can you adjust in a way that the players understand?
Well, that's
the challenge. And the really, really good ones. And like, you know, it's like, look, we can, when we're all grown, man, we all play, like everybody on my staff was a player. And so we can all watch tape and think of all these, like we were talking about, I said one day, I was like, okay, so we're going to call man one color, zone one color. And then if we do a hybrid, like a blending of the two. And Damon Archibald is my defense coordinator. He's like, well, he's like going through all these calls. And I was like, Arch, that's great.
Too much.
But I got like, I got kids in there.
You got to be smart.
Are we coaching? Are we man or zone? Right. What is my ball screen coverage? What is our point of pressure?
You might have 2 or 3 guys on your team that are able to pick up everything if you throw everything out.
That's what I say. When I say I was left a good situation,
high
like
IQ guys.
Those 3 kids, yeah. But there's lots of kids with high IQs. Basketball, they can't process. Like these guys really process, want to be coached. So, but anyway, I'm like, okay, so give me a point of pickup. We can do 90 is full or 100 is full, 3/4 court 75, mid-court is 50, and then a color for man or zone. And he's like, no. So we're getting closer to a decision on it. But the point is that you still like all of that intelligence or supposed knowledge of basketball doesn't matter if your kids can't understand it and you can't put them in the proper position to succeed. And even that doesn't matter if the ball doesn't go in the basket. Now, I want to be more process and result, which sounds like a cop out. Like I want to be like, can't care about how we played.
Not yet.
I mean, if we made shots, if we played well, I just want to play well and look like we're well coached and look like we're tough, we're competitive, and that we've worked on the right things. If we do that, we got a chance.
Doug Gottlieb, off the carousel. Thanks for